Former Vice President Joe Biden reportedly eyeing a presidential run in 2020. The Associated Press reporting the 75-year-old Biden recently broached the idea during a meeting with longtime advisors. Now, Biden is not the only former Obama official weighing a 2020 bid. Eric Holder, the only cabinet member to be held in contempt of Congress, said earlier this month that he also hasn't ruled out the possibility. Joining me now is Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Matt, I want to focus on yet another possible candidate for the Democrats for 2020, and that's Oprah Winfrey. As we showed before, the president responded to her 60 Minutes performance last night with a critical tweet. I just want to put it up again if I can. The last sentence is the one I'd like to focus on with you. I hope Oprah runs so she can be exposed and defeated just like all the others. Now, is Donald Trump trying to scare her away, or is he actually trying to bait her into running?
I don't know the answer, but I do think that Donald Trump understands that it's very easy to sit on the outside and talk about running. It's a whole other thing to actually get in the arena and get dirty and have people start attacking you. And that's one thing Oprah Winfrey has to consider. I know she says she's not running. Barack Obama initially said he wasn't going to run, and then he eventually got in. You know, it's a rough process. The only thing I would say to Oprah and to Uncle Joe Biden and to Eric Holder, who wouldn't respond to subpoenas from the Congress, is we're just a year into the Trump administration. I know you guys are already spiking the ball that you think that you're in this position to have all these political victories. Why don't you put one foot in front of the other and focus on these midterm elections? We're all kind of tired of talking about the last presidential race, and they already want to talk about the next presidential race.
That's all they got. All they got is the anti-Trump rhetoric. I mean, there's really no clear economic policy. There's no clear foreign policy.
You're right.
There's really nothing other than being anti-Trump. Just one final word on Oprah. The only person I know well who's run for president is Steve Forbes. And he, of course, at first said, no way, I'm not going to. He was from totally outside the system. He ended up holding up pretty well. He didn't get a lot of votes, but he held up pretty well.
He did.
I'm just wondering, do you think that Oprah would have a chance if she ran?
I do. I don't think you can count her out. I mean, she's a phenomenal star. An actress, a talk show host, a business person, and I actually think if she wants to run, she just ought to do it.
Yeah.
Just don't take for granted how tough it really is. It takes somebody with the steel of Donald Trump to withstand all of these unending attacks.
Yeah. Now let's go back. That's 2020. Let's go to 2018, which is the midterms coming up in November. We had 4 big rhinos, including Jeff Flake among them, coming out over the weekend saying that the GOP was underestimating the degree to which they're in trouble in those elections, to which you say what?
Well, they were in trouble because people like Jeff Flake, who was at literally 18% approval amongst Republicans in Arizona, and I like Jeff Flake, he's been a friend for a long time, but he proved to be durably unpopular, and a lot of these people like Bob Corker, I know he's reconsidering his race in Tennessee. He wouldn't have won this primary against Marsha Blackburn, and if he runs again, he will lose. The polls are very rough on Republicans who told us it was morally unacceptable to support Donald Trump. After a year of seeing Donald Trump as president, these Republican primary voters don't want to hear from these naysaying, moderate Republican incumbents. They actually want them to go away.
Well, particularly since Donald Trump has governed as much more of a conservative than anybody, even some of his supporters, thought he would be. I mean, on tax policy, on deregulations, on his toughness with our enemies abroad. By the way, you have a big event, or you're going to be part of a big event. CPAC is coming up this week.
Days away.
The president is going to be speaking there, the vice president as well.
Right.
Now, it comes at a time with that awful shooting still clear in our memory, and a possibility of some kind of deal on at least strengthening the background checks for gun purchases.
That's right.
How will that do for the president when he speaks in front of all these conservatives on Thursday?
Well, we believe at CPAC, first of all, he's the first president since Ronald Reagan who addressed us in his first year in his presidency, and now he's coming back in his second year as president. We're going to have a lot of the cabinet there and a lot of White House senior officials. The key on this issue of the Second Amendment, Dave, is to remember it is the Second Amendment. It's right there, number 2 in the Bill of Rights.
Right.
But I do think that constitutionalists and conservatives who will be at CPAC believe in this idea that it's okay still to have a background check, and we ought to have the resources to be able to check to see who's buying these guns. And I think everybody is comfortable with the idea that there are certain people who have lost the privilege of gun ownership, and we ought to take this very seriously. We ought to fund this instant background check, and we ought to be careful about giving guns to people who want to do us harm.
Matt Schlapp, good to see you, Matt. Thank you very much for coming in.